Join us for a review of the Peugeot 3008 Hybrid 4 GT. Let's go! Please subscribe to us if you haven't done so far, and thank you so much to our long-term subscribers. Here the Peugeot 3008 already has a quite strong stance in the front with this Dodge style grille, chrome effect, and this one as the GT trim has a sporty lower bumper as well, and contrasting here to this Ulti red, or ultimate red I would call it, very strong red color. I really like that. So at the moment, at least for now, and probably this will also continue, the plug-in hybrid is only available in the combination with the GT trim because they just want to put it upmarket like a full spec car and so on. 4.45 meters, 14'6" or 175 inches is the length of the Peugeot 3008. And you can see the hybrid version, you cannot really distinguish it that well to the normal one. If you take a normal 3008 GT, for example, the only thing is here we have a hybrid 4 badge here, and that's basically it. In this case, we have 18-inch wheels with winter tires mounted. I think still a good compromise between comfort and looks. Usually with the GT trim, you will also get the 19-inch wheels, which are even a little bit bigger. And when you have summer tires mounted, they even appear bigger, of course. Pretty cool lion claw design here with the tail lamps in the rear. And again, this black and red split from design. And in the lower part, massive dual fake exhaust alert. So real exhaust is underneath. I mean, it looks quite stylish, but I mean, we all agree, meanwhile, that we don't really need them, especially if they're just like, there's no technical anything behind it here in this case. So you have this 1.6 petrol, already with a turbo, and then you have an electric motor in the front and one in the rear. This one then is called the Hybrid 4 model. However, this one here, 300 horsepower system output, and there will also be just the one electric motor plug-in hybrid version. It will be only in the front. This is just called hybrid, 225 horsepower as for the system output. And you'll see that across the whole PSA range when they offer those hybrid models. Then there might be the Hybrid 4 or the hybrid, depending on the cheaper entry version then when you have just the electric motor on the front, and a little more expensive when you have the all-wheel drive. So while you fuel up on the right side, you recharge here at the left side this 13 kilowatt hour battery, either with a 3.7 kilowatt AC charger or optional 7.4, which of course makes sense. And then the realistic range would be like 40 or 50 kilometers all electric, or 25-30 miles approximately. Then inside of the doors, this is here the GT trim. So we have soft touch on the top part. And then in the GT line, the GT trim, the total one, both you also have Alcantara, and in this case, not only black, but in the hybrid version, exclusively in gray. Beautiful, and creates this living room atmosphere. Really very well done. We've seen it in the Peugeot 2008, the all-electric version also. So for the electrification models, they obviously reserved this grey Alcantara. Then the black leatherette, also with soft touch here at the inside of the doors. So good build quality as for those pieces. And then you have some bottle holders here at the inside of the doors. The GT trim also comes with this badge at steering wheel, but you also in normal trim levels get this small steering wheel with the flat bottom. Here also soft touch materials at the dashboard. Then this Cockpit Layout, no head-up display, but this one is placed relatively high upward with a modern digital instrument. And then the seats. So you get nice fabric options for the 3008 in general. And then in the GT line, or the true GT trim, which is always combined with the strongest petrol engine, you get Alcantara then on the inside, this microfiber, and leatherette on the outside. So also an animal-free solution for the seats. And again, grey for the plug-in hybrid. And this is again so well done. The seat looks amazing really. And it's also very comfortable indeed. Also fits for taller people, and you can get inside quite easily. If I put it to the lowest position, I have some headroom left. This one here with the panoramic roof. If you leave it out, you have a little bit more headroom. Now the interior overview, and it's really a wow interior as for the styling already. Again with this small steering wheel, very sporty to handle. Digital instruments, then this top infotainment screen. Then you have these buttons right here. They are still physical and you can actually press them with hostkeys, and the lower ones as well. And good that we still also have a real volume knob that you can tune down or up in a very fast way. And also for the seat heating you have separate knobs. Soon we'll give you more details to the screens and so on. First of all, I also want to stress here again, wow, this grey Alcantara surface is really, really cool. Special to the PHEV version, you also have a lightning button right here that directly gets you to the special screen where you have, all the different statistics in the infotainment system. We'll also take a look at that when we drive very soon. Then in the lower part, you can connect your phone for the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto with the cable, or below that there's also inductive charging platform. So at the steering wheel, you can change the volume here, left thumb, and also the views of the digital instruments. And there's also a voice input button. It's not a natural voice input, but you have some useful commands.
To begin, say a command after the tone.
Increase temperature.
Temperature changed.
So that's a way to change the temperature while driving, for example. And then on the right side of the steering wheel, you can pick up or cancel the phone, pick a different audio source, and then this would be rather here to control something in the right screen, but there won't be much use case for that other than radio scrolling. Digital instruments, interesting by the way, there's a separate button to activate or deactivate the light below that. Interesting, right? Then you have this screen where you have the battery, where it is, and can follow when the electric motors are active. We'll follow that when we drive the car. And also on the right side, when you're using the maximum power or when you are recuperating. And you can also change the views here depending on what you want to see. You also have this so-called minimalistic view. So not too much information. You can personalize it as well here, so everything looks differently. Or have the GPS in the middle part, that's possible and also quite cool. Also with the grey beautiful microfiber here for the rear seats. Again, this is design-wise very well done and comfort-wise at the same time. So cool to have something unique. Peugeot is not officially one of those official premium brands, but I mean, looking at that one here, I think this is a premium car, and in this case also premium pricing. Yeah, we'll talk later about the pricing also here, especially of the PHEV model. Also we have the grey Alcantara at the inside of the doors, once again, pretty cool, and also the optional focal sound system. It's also pretty nice, we can, heard it already. So let's get inside. And being 1.86 or 6'1", the headroom in the rear is very close with the panoramic roof. So I do fit in here, yes, but it would be more room above me without the panoramic roof. Yet again, I can watch outside. So for 4 tall adults like me, it's no problem. Here also with the knee room, it would be better for my legs actually, and for my feet, when the front seat would be a little bit higher. And then also, this gap here would fit even better. It would be then, like this. So bear that in mind. Maybe tell the other guy in the front, even if it's tall, put the seat a little bit more up, then it fits even better. Let's open the hatch. And also works here with this foot kick opening mechanism if you're not hands-free. And is about 400 liters in the base setup. You see here square dimensions, that's cool. And 1,350 liters approximately when we flip the seats very soon. So here below that, you can have storage of the cable. That's a good and clean solution. Other than that, there's not a real compromise also for the trunk. It's the same liter figures. That's also cool here for the PHEV version. And the normal length here is almost 90 centimeters. The height of or below the cover here, 47 centimeters. And the width, as usual, a little bit more than a meter. So that's actually quite cool, especially here, good dimensions. Starting here all silent in the all electric mode. So I also see the visualization here in the top of the display. There is also one for here, car apps, energy, and there we can see basically the same. So then you can see at the moment we're just rolling. The battery pack is in the middle part of the car, and it's ideal function here for being in a small city. So you can just roll all electric and you're more silent for everyone around us, and no local emissions then here. When I'm a little bit on the brakes, then there's also the green rear axle. It's a little bit delayed here on the right side. Have you seen that? So it appears earlier on the left side. And here when I'm a little bit on the throttle, then you can see just the rear. So at the moment we're rear drive only. So this system is, you have the combustion engine on the front axle, only drives that one. Then you have an electric motor in the front and an electric motor in the rear, at least in this version. There will also be the version that is just the electric motor in the front, the non-all-wheel drive PHEV. And so at the moment, when you drive all electric, it's predominantly the rear axle only. That's really interesting, isn't it? So, and of course, when you have the full power, then both electric motors, front and rear axle, would support. So here when I'm a little bit more on the throttle, still you see the rear axle remains. And here we have to pay attention to those speed cameras. Damn you. So and then on the brakes, recuperation. Then I also see it here in this charging meter, and it's really nice and relaxed ride, definitely. So, but what happens when I'm a little bit more on the throttle? Let's just test it out, everything. A little bit more. Yeah, I mean, gives me a good electric boost actually. So let's see. We can accelerate even further out. Let's see, like about 50 to 100. Plop, that's it already. And there you see, when I'm hammering it all through, then the combustion engine also gets activated. The combined power output, maximum power output, is 5.9 seconds. It's about 2 seconds faster actually than the strongest petrol engines so far. So that's also pretty cool. But I really feel resistance in the pedal, so I can also accelerate quite fast, electric only. I just need to stay with the foot before the threshold there in the throttle. Really interesting. So we also have different driving modes where I can adjust it a little bit. So for example, let's go from up. This is 4WD all-wheel drive. So this ensures that we're a little bit reduced in the stability control, that we have a little bit more wheel spin and so on. But obviously, when the car is just rolling, there's nothing happening. So that would, when I'm here on the throttle, then directly also the rear motor is being used, so that all-wheel drive is ensured. most of the time probably you won't use it. Sport is what I've been talking about, that we have maximum power from the combustion engine and from the electric motors, so that you're a little bit more tuned, RPMs turn up higher and so on. Hybrid then would be the standard mode where the vehicle selects itself what to do. So that would be, let's say, the normal driving mode for this one. Depending on the situation, the car says then, okay, I do it this and there. There you can see when the yellow is on, then also the combustion engine is running. And then there is the electric mode. And in this case here also, the combustion engine gets shut off. I'm in the electric mode and I stay there as long as I don't exceed this power threshold again. I can also see it here in the central gauge. So it's actually quite well done. Easier solution than with the Volvo. So here it is clearer. Recently Volvo XC40 PHEV review, and here I see it more clear what is actually happening. Leave me in there. So definitely it's easier to keep up than when I'm in which mode, and also to stay all electric. And the best thing is, of course, doing it like I do it here at the moment. Let's say this would be my daily commuting way to work, which was like a couple of years ago, part of my daily commuting way to work, by the way. Just, yeah. And this, this is really funny, So this could really work out very well. Let's say you can charge at home or you can charge at work, and then you can just commute all electric during the week. And on the weekend, maybe you want to take a longer trip, and then you would use the combustion engine for an overland drive. So this would be the ideal use case. Yes, we know there are a lot of plug-in hybrid customers who don't charge frequently. That's definitely a problem, because then you're just carrying the extra weight around you. And the normal fuel consumption for the combustion engine, like going just straight the motorway, will be somewhat the same than if you don't have it. Because yes, there's some recuperation happening, but then again you have some extra weight, so that evens it out a little bit. The advantages of the plug-in hybrid, of course, when you have more stop and go, when you can use more recuperation and then use something from the battery once again, that is really helpful then, definitely. And of course, even more so when you charge it, that you can drive more on the electric drive. And by the way, when I'm here in normal D mode, the drive mode, I can also pull it back once more, and then I'm in the B mode, and then I have more recuperation when I leave off the throttle. So B for the brake mode or recuperation mode, and then you can jump to the D again when you rather just want to roll. And there you can also see it in the digital instruments. So when I go off the throttle in the D mode, rather rolling, not so much recuperation. Just when I'm on the brakes, then it does recuperate. Other than that, when I'm now switching to the B mode and leave off the throttle, then there's automatically more recuperation, more reduction in speed, without me hitting the brake, so I can more drive like one pedal alike, but the recuperation is not very hard. And now to our conclusion for today with the Peugeot 3008 Hybrid 4, the PHEV version, and also in the top sporty GT trim. Well, first of all, it's a very attractive exterior and already quite unique on the market. Even more so in the interior, the whole layout and also design is very unique. That's also why a lot of people go for this vehicle, to have something special. And especially in the GT trim, which adds those sporty elements. And also then in the PHEV trim, where you have the grey Alcantara. This is so beautiful. Again, even more unique even than the normal 3008. And you really feel something special, and you feel at home when sitting in this very interior. Of course, it's a little bit extravagant, but that's also, what they thought about exactly that when building that. And I think, why not being a little bit more special? It's still a very comfortable interior. You have enough space, both in the rear and also in the trunk. Yeah, there's the catch: when you have tall adults, you should put the front seat a little bit higher. Then it works better, how the rear of this front seat is being shaped. I have to know that just. Functionality-wise, I like to be able to control the temperature a little bit easier. That's maybe the only catch. Other than that, everything works well as also for this respect. The built interior quality, some parts where we say, yeah, that's maybe something you should work on, then other parts which are really high-class premium. Sometimes when you push yourself in the seat, or like change the driving position, it can make some squeaks from car to car. Some cars have it, some not, of 3008. So those are some little things that can happen. Then driving-wise was very interesting, very well insulated, nice and calm drive. Suspension-wise also a good compromise. And here, it's very funny, it's the strongest standard equipment or standard production Peugeot there is on the market because of this PHEV system with this 300 horsepower system output. Pretty interesting. And it is very, very strong, especially as for the acceleration, combining all the drives together. Yet again, the biggest advantage is that you have this calm electric drive, especially in city situations. And I was enjoying this electric drive so much. It's just more fun and more relaxing at the very same time. And I would like to drive it all electric all the time, actually. Especially then because it's maybe even more a rear-wheel drive car than when you have the PHEV here. Of course, combining everything front and rear drive when you drive in this hybrid mode, for example, or when you really hammer the throttle. So overall, a very enjoyable ride. Pricing, you can get a base Peugeot 3008 for about 25k, taking German reference price at 43k. Then when you have the GT trim with the strongest petrol engine, yeah, and then the PHEV is about 50,000 euros. I mean, you almost have everything in there, maybe some extras here and there, but it will stay somewhat at 50,000. So that's already quite expensive then, more towards a premium product. Yet again, if you take some benefits into account, and especially thinking about the German laws at the moment now, it's not necessarily more expensive anymore than the GT trim. When you deduct something of price and again have lower tax and so on, especially using it at a company car, also in a private base, then it can also make sense in a financial way. It will not be the cheapest one of the lineup. If you have a better price performance, then rather pick the smaller petrol engine or something and not so much in the extras. But if you go for a high spec 3008 anyway, then it can make sense to directly go here for the plug-in hybrid version, especially if you have the infrastructure already to charge it at home. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Also tune in some of the other episodes of the 3008 we have done. 5008 will also receive a hybrid version, the 508 as well. It depends on if they also get the rear-wheel drive version. That has to be seen later on. The 3008 will be available in both trims, so the PHEV front-wheel drive electric motor, but also the dual electric motor as we had here today. So, about this car, leave us your feedback and also tune in next time.